Hello, and welcome to the June 2019 Did You Know webinar series on our Valeo platform. Today, we're going to be covering 4 topics, and those topics are signatures. We have 3 different types of way the system does signatures, so we're going to look pretty in depth at all 3 of those ways. After we're done with signatures, we're going to go to the foster care census page. Then we'll look at the residential census page, and then the services census page. So that's the topics we're covering today. Thank you for watching, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. So I will have everybody muted till the end, so save your questions till the end. That way I can try to ensure that this is no longer than 1 hour. Okay, so let's look at signatures. So we're going to go to the client Tom Cruiser. We're going to go to the client page, and we're going to open up the client care module. All right. So I have this client care item set up called additional field types. So that's what we're going to be looking at in regards to these signatures. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the last one completed to show you these. Now, once we get done looking at these 3 types, I'm actually going to go and show you how you can configure these things on different things. And what I'm going to do when we're done looking at the 3 types, I'm going to go on this police face sheet back in the part of Valeo where you can configure things, and we're going to set up all 3 types of fields so you can see how you can set them up. And obviously, when we get done looking at this, you're going to know how they work. So let's go ahead and look at the 3 types. So I have this client care item set up called additional field types, and it's just one I use to show all the different types of additional fields. So if we scroll down, the very first one I want to show you is what we call signature lines, okay? And signature lines have nothing to do with the screen. So in this client care items, you have an edit screen, and that's what we're looking at, is the edit screen. Then you also have a printable report of the client care item. If you're using a signature lines as one of your signatures, well, they don't show up on the screen. They show up on the printable report. So to look at signature lines, I just need to go ahead and open up this report, and you're going to see here's what signature lines are. So we have one for a case manager, one for a supervisor, one for a custodian, one for a GAL, and one for a CASA. And then there's a place for them to sign. If you want them to print their name beside it, they can. And then a place to date it. So that is one type of signatures we do on the Valeo system. Again, this is called signature lines. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. The other 2 types of signature stuff that we're going to look at is called signature capture and digital signatures. Now, all 3 types will show up on a printable report. It's just the signature lines do not show up on the edit screen. So let's scroll down here. So the first one we come to is a signature capture field. Right now, I don't have, I'm on my desktop, so the only way I can sign this document is with my mouse, and it's really hard to write my name for me with a mouse, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So the signature capture field lets you capture a signature right on the edit screen. Right. So if I was signing this with, typically I would be using a signature capture device like a tablet or a laptop. The touchpad on laptops work, or one of the Topaz products, which is like the products you use in retail environments to sign for your credit card and stuff. So even if you don't have a touchscreen device or a laptop or a signature capture device, you can use your mouse if you're on your desktop. You just got to go real slow because it's really hard to get a good signature. So once you sign it, though, you save it, and then down here I can type in who I am, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my licensing initials. So I'm a master social worker. All right, so let me come down here and save. All right, so that is a signature capture. Now let's go look at the report and see what that looks like on the report. So here you have it. The signature lines are here. This is the signature capture device. All right. So that's what I just signed with my mouse. Now this is a digital signature, and to show you digital signatures, I'm going to actually go to a new one. So let me come back here. Just going to get out of that one. Here's my additional fields. That's the one we're looking at. Now let's enter the next one due. So we come in here, we're going to put 9/30/2019. Don't want to be late. And I would, fill out the form, come down here. And if you're using digital signatures, you'll see this, all right, this part right here. And I have the header here. It says digital signatures. Here's that signature capture. Again, you don't see the signature lines on the screen. So now, if you're using digital signatures, it's real simple. All you got to do is enter in your PIN, okay? Now, before you go any further, you want to validate that PIN. The system will tell you if it's validated or not. Right now, to the right, it says you must save this to complete the signature. So just as soon as you validate your PIN, just hit a save button somewhere. And when you do save it, then it's going to change to this. Okay, it's going to be signed by Paul Hanrahan on this date and time. All right, and that's absolutely fine. If you have the right security permissions, you can actually reset that signature, and it'll bring back the little box where you enter your PIN and the validate button. But let's go ahead and look at a printable report and see what that digital signature truly looks like. So here's that digital signature. Notice I didn't sign that document. What we did is, if you want to use digital signatures, you're going to have your users set up their signatures, and I'm going to show you that next. But here it is. So and you'll see this Paul Hanrahan LSS. You'll see it when I go show you how you set up users' digital signatures. So that's what a digital signature looks like on the system. So again, there's three types. You have signature lines that will not show up on the edit screen. You have signature capture, just like you do at a store, a retail store, or a restaurant when you sign for your credit card charge, or you have digital signatures. Okay. Now, if you want to use digital signatures, then every user, every staff member has to set up their digital signature. If you look right up here in the top right-hand corner, there's a little gear. If you click on that gear, if you click on it the right way, oh, come on. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not that gear. It's this gear here on the system. That's the web browser gear. It's this gear here. If you click on that gear, then it's going to open up a user's page. So this is about the user that's logged in. That's me. All right, and you have some links over here. The one you use to set up your digital signature is this one. Now, when you first come in here, this will be blank, all right, because you haven't set it up yet. But once you set it up, then we'll show you what your current signature is. So first thing you do is enter your PIN number, minimum 4 numeric digits. It can be more, but a minimum 4. Then you got to confirm it. Then you put an effective date. So, what I would do is put like a couple years ago. So if you go backwards and sign anything from before, that signature would be active. All right. And then here's where that value would be, Paul Hanrahan LSS. So you would type that value in. Right now, I already have it done. And this is what this is showing you, that I already have set up a digital signature. Now, I can change my PIN. So if I went ahead and typed a new PIN here, even though I've already set up my digital signature, and this tells you you have one, your current signature and PIN for Paul Hanrahan has been effective since 11/1/2011. So to set up a new one, you're just going, again, when you first come in here, before you set one up, you won't see this part. You're just going to see this part, right? But if I wanted to change it, then I'm going to enter my new PIN, confirm it, put my effective date, type in my name like I did up here, and then sign the document or sign the screen here and hit save. And then you save that, and you just, if it's your first time, you've just set up your initial digital signature. If you're changing your digital signature, then that save button will do the edit, erase the old one, and start using the new one. The old one would still be there, so documents you digitally signed in the past will still have that original one. New documents going forward would have the the new signature. Old documents before that effective date would have the old signature. So that's how a user sets up their digital signature. So now the next thing I want to show you about these signatures, I want to show you how you can set them up. Okay, so again, to set these up, all three of these up, we're going to do one at a time. Come look at this, then we will do the next one. So we're going to be adding digital signatures to the police face sheet. All right, so the first thing you got to know is, what is the case management agency you're going to do this for? So this kid, Tom Cruiser, is under this case management setup as foster care super agency Kentucky style invoice. So when I go to the table maintenance page, and I'm going to go ahead and use the new table maintenance page. Okay, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do a search for client. It's a client care items what we're doing. So if you just start typing there, you're going to see client care, right? Now, once you do that, it's going to make you pick the agency you want to do it for. And here's the one that Tom Cruiser's under. So I'm going to click on Foster Care Super Agency, Kentucky style. Then it's going to open up the screen with all those client care item setups that are available for that case management setup. Notice there's quite a few. Now, when you see one that's highlighted dark like that, that means that one's turned off. So if we go look at this, you'll see an end date on that. All right. If there's no end date, then they're not highlighted. Okay. So what we're trying to do now, we're going to try to go add the, we're not going to try, we're going to do it. We're going to go add the three types of signatures to the police face sheet. So the first thing you should do is expand out police face sheet. So here's all the fields that are on that police face sheet. Okay, we have youth photo, weight, height, hair, eyes, race, guardian, phone, court mandated, last dental exam. Here's the display order. So the first item being displayed, and it's an order of 5, is the youth photo. The next one is weight 10, height 20, hair 30, eyes 40, race 50, guardian 60, so on and so forth. Now, when you're adding these additional fields, you can order these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We highly recommend you don't do that. We recommend you either go in increments of 5 or 10. And the reason we do this, or we recommend that, so let's say it's 2 years later and you want to add a field between youth photo and weight. If you number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you got to reorder all these. Or if you do it in increments of 5 or 10, then I could come in here and add another field and order it as, 6, 7, 8, or 9, because that's order 5, that's 10. So if you do increments, then you have room to add stuff later. Where if you just number them sequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you got to reorder them all if you want to add one in here. So these are the fields that are already there. So now we want to add a new one. So there's a couple ways you can start this. You can click on this edit button. You want to remember what this last field number, order number was. So it was a 90. So you can click on this edit button and you can add a new additional field here. So I would label this 100. I'm going to do it this way this time, and I'm going to show you the other way to add a new additional field when we add the next one. So this one we're just going to call signature lines, and we're going to hit add. Okay, so what I did, I added a new additional field. I titled it signature lines, and the display order is 100. So now when I close this, this page will refresh, and when you blow up, it will expand that out automatically. And here you see is that new additional field called signature lines, and it's order 100, which means it's after the last dental exam. So all we did right now is created the field. So now we have to configure it. So if you click on that pencil, you come in here. You can do rows and columns. On signatures, you wouldn't do rows and columns, but on other fields like height, weight, and hair, we could do 2 columns, 3 columns. So if we were doing 3, this could be 1 of 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, which means on the screen it would just be in columns like this. So that would say hair, weight, height. If you did 1 of 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. So that's what these 2 fields are for. That's the display order you picked. And this is the type. Before I change this screen size, this field only pertains to text box. And you have 4 options here, 5 options, 25, 50, 200, 1000, 7000. That's the character size of that text box. All right, so this field here only is in relationship to text box. So now what we're setting up is signature lines. All right, so I'm going to select signature lines here. And this is where the title is going to be in reference to the field itself. So if I leave it at above, it's going to say signature lines, and right underneath it will be where the signature lines show up. The other option on this is beside. So now you could have it say one thing on the screen, and you can have it say something else on the report. So let's just do that so you can see how this works. So I added screen description to the screen description field, and I'm going to add report if I can type right, description to the report field. All right. Now, if you don't check this, it will not show up on a printable report. So this one, if you're doing text boxes or a couple other types, if you click that, it's going to pull the old value from the previous one that was completed. So in this case, it would, like if I'm doing the police face sheet for 3rd quarter of 2019, and this was checked on this text field, let's say this race was a text field, then it would pull the values that was typed in the text field from the 2nd quarter of 2019 if I'm now doing the 3rd quarter. So it just pulls whatever the previous value was entered into this. Now we're not doing dynamic fields, so this only pertains, this drop box only pertains to a type of dynamic field. Okay, so we're not doing that. But now we get down to here. So it says if your type is a paragraph, this is where you would type your paragraph. If it's signatures, if it's signature lines, then it tells you separate on new lines if screen type is set to signature. So if I wanted a signature for case manager, I want a signature for a supervisor, and I wanted a signature for the client, then this is how I would set it up. Okay. Now, user restrictions is a lot more in depth. We're not going to cover these today. But the last thing you want to be sure of is your start date. Now, if you put this at 6/14/2019 and you're doing a police face sheet that was due before this date, this new signature line will not show up. Now, what I'm going to do to make sure that don't happen to me, I'm going to go back to year 2000. You don't have to. You know, as long as you know that if that due date is before the start date, this new field won't show up. That's what you need to take away from this. All right. Then when you're setting these things up, you can date them how you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and update that. It updated. So now let's go back here and look at that police face sheet for Tom Cruiser. So here's that police face sheet. Notice we did signature lines, so there's nothing on the edit screen, but if you go to the printable report, there should be signature lines, and there's 3 of them, one for the case manager, one for the supervisor, and one for the client. So that is the simple steps to set up a signature capture or a signature line. Now the next thing we want to do, we want to set up signature capture. Right? So I showed you to add a new additional field the first time I clicked on this, but this time I'm just going to click on this edit pencil for the additional field called signature lines. Every one of these additional field configuration screens has at the bottom a place where you can add a new additional field. So let's go ahead and here. I close that. This will refresh, and you will now see that new signature capture field. So let's go ahead and set this one up real quick. So again, all this other stuff I told you about these fields up here are relevant, but this type is a signature capture. Again, we could split these descriptions. I don't know if these descriptions, when we're doing captures or signature lines or digital signatures, actually show in a report. but we'll see. So if you're doing signature captures, you don't have to put nothing here. All right. Again, make sure your date is relevant to what you're trying to accomplish. Hit update, hit OK, close that. This screen will refresh. Now if we go back to Tom Cruiser, let me close that and reopen it. Please face sheet, here it is. Now if we scroll down here, here's that signature capture. Notice that the description, I added screen in the screen description field. On the report, I added report. So let me go ahead and sign this. Again, it's really hard for me. I think most of you know I have my handshake, so using a mouse is almost impossible for me to sign these. I use that LS. Now I'm going to use MSW so you can know the difference. My digital signature has LSS, so that's one way you'll be able to tell the difference. Let's save this. Now I want to save and stay here, so I'm going to use this save button. If I use save and return, then it takes me back to the client care module. Now let's look at that printable report. So here's those signature lines we added. All right, and notice that the titles on these type things don't come over the printable report. And here's that digital signature. So let me sign it. So, which brings up a good point. So if you wanted to put a title above this, let me just go show you how to do that real quick, because I could see where you would want to do that. So that signature capture is order 110. So let me click on this. I'm going to say I want to add a header at 108. And we're going to call this, just for lack of a better term, I'm just going to call it worker signature. Add, close, it's going to refresh, and then we'll see that header between those two signatures. So here it is. Click on the edit pencil. We want to set it to a header. All right, I want to show it on a report. Again, I want to make sure the date is effective for what we're trying to do. Hit update, close. Now if I go back and reopen that report, let me just refresh this real fast. We'll see a header before that digital signature. So here you have that header that I added. So it makes it just a little more clear what that is below it. So okay, so that's the signature capture. The last thing we want to add is a digital signature. So let's click on the pencil. The last sort order we have is 110. Come down here to the bottom. So we're going to add, I'm going to do 120, and I'm going to actually add another header, and I'm just going to call it digital signature. I actually like headers on these things because it really breaks up printable reports that can have a tendency to run on. So let's go ahead and add in the additional field. Now I'm adding 2 additional fields before I go configure them. So, because I want to show you something about the screen. Okay, so now when this refreshes, we'll see those 2 new ones that I just added. I titled them both the same. That wasn't very smart. But let's go ahead and edit the first one, which I want to set to a header, okay? Just so we can see the difference. And that's a header. Only other thing on the header you got to make sure of is your date. Update that. And then the reason I added both those together, I want to show you these next buttons. So what you could literally do, if you're adding 5 fields, just go ahead and add them here with the right display orders. And if they're right in a row, just add all 5 of them first, right? Then once this screen refresh, go to the first new field, then you can use this button to step through them. So I'm going to just put the word example on this. And this is going to be a digital signature. And again, on this type thing, you don't have to worry about all those other fields I'm showing you, or that you see on the screen. Hit update. I want to go back to this. What I want to do is just add the word header to this. Okay. So now let's close that. This will refresh and you'll see the new names on that. Digital signature headers, digital signature example. So let's go back to Tom. Refresh this client care module. Let's go back to that police face sheet. Now here, digital pointer, it's not saved. Oh, yeah, I'm not assigned. I didn't. Let me go back and fix that real fast. Yeah, you want to make sure you pick the right value there. So now if I refresh this, now I can enter my digital signature to this. I'll go back and show you that last thing I just did here in a second. So let's pop open the report, printable report, and you'll see all three of those signatures. Oh, nope, the digital signature didn't show up because here's why it did not show up. Digital signature, I didn't click this button. And that's good because you just seen how that button is very important if you want something on report. Let me refresh this. Let's go look at that printable report again. Yeah, why didn't that show? Oh, because I didn't save it when I signed it the first time. Validate, save. Now print the report, and you'll see that there's that digital signature example. So, okay, so now let's go back. If you do indeed set one of these up yourself, let's go back and just talk about that one field I didn't talk about. In that field, let me blow the screen up a little bit so you can see a little better. So if you're setting up a digital signature field, you can control, and this would be done, this list would be done for you based off of the discovery conversations we have with you. But you can control who's allowed to sign this document by this setting, all right? Logged in user, you're just telling this form, anybody that's logged in can digitally sign that. If you set it to administration, then only people that have a job role administration can sign it. If it's set to direct service, only people with job role direct service, so on and so forth. So so that field is important. Now something else I didn't tell you, and let me just review this real fast. If you want to do something like this, you're probably going to be working with us to start. Maybe not, if you're really sharp with setting this stuff up. So if you wanted to, let's say these were fields that you fill in when you do this, all right? Like this field's a fill-in field. These are dynamic fields. Pretend all these were fill-in fields, stuff you filled in, all right? And if you wanted, once the caseworker signs this, or anybody digitally signs this document, you can lock these fields down, all right? So let me just show you that real fast. And that is what this is for. So if you look, youth photo is order 5, court mandated is order 80. So if I put 5 and 80 in here, all right, then once that thing is digitally signed, those fields would be locked down. Nobody's going to be allowed to change them, all right, until you'd have to reset the PIN to allow somebody to change those. So digital signatures can also help you lock down data that's been entered. Okay, and that's what this little part of the digital signatures is about. So, okay, so that is the signature piece. Let me close some of these screens out. Yeah. Now, if you want to do signature capture, a couple things you need to know. You can use a mouse. You've watched me do it today. Or you can buy, or if you're using laptops or tablets, you can use the touch screens or the touchpad on laptop. There's different ways you can do it. Or if you want to buy the Topaz products, you can buy those Topaz products and use those to capture signatures also. They're really lightweight. They're not real big. Uh, they cost maybe 70, 80 bucks a piece. But if you use those, then you would want to come and set this. This is the company information table. Instead of saying pad, you would select this and say Topaz. All right. Again, this is under the table maintenance, and it's called company information. And it's right here, signature capture device. Okay. Now, if you're in here, and you mess with these other settings, you need to be very, very careful. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you're not 100% sure what you're doing, then call, log a ticket, call our help desk, just check with them first before you change those settings, because they can have, they do have effect on a lot of parts of the system. So that is the signature stuff. For the second half of this webinar, we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at this foster care census page, the residential census page, and the services census page. I got to tell you, these are three of the, most brilliant things we put on the system, because it really simplifies navigation. If you got stuff you're going to be doing with a home or a kid, just go to the census page. Depending on who you are, how you're set up in the system, I'm set up to where I'm going to see everybody in my Dayton branch. All right. So this is all the currently, and this is the foster care placement census page. So these are all the foster care clients currently in the system. All right. Now this page has links built into it. Just watch my mouse as I move across. Okay. The first thing, if it turns to hand, that means it's a link. So if you click there, it's going to disappear on you. Okay, but all you got to do is re-click it and it will open up. That is for people that may be looking at a state. Right, so if I go look at a state, it's going to show me one branch at a time. So if I click on Dayton, it will close Canton and expand out Dayton. So that's why those are expandable, collapsible regions. But I want to just go back. And also, let me touch on this real fast. If you see in any of these type of drop downs the word default, here is what you're looking at right there. Up in the top right hand corner, it says, "Greetings, Paul Hanrahan. You're in the Dayton branch." So if this is defaulted, it's defaulting to Dayton. Okay, so let me go ahead and hit go. We'll get rid of that Canton branch. So that's a link, all right? So now watch my mouse, and now it turns back to a pointer. Nothing to do there. Now this don't turn to hand, but it's obvious there's something there. Well, this is what's called the action column. You can go do these things, and we're going to walk through those here in a minute. All right. Now, see how that little window pops up? It says you want some information about the placement. Click that. It's a little pop-up window. It gives you more information about this client's placement. All right. That way you don't have to go away from this page to find any of this information that's shown on this screen. Right. Now, if I put my mouse over Jared Anderson, notice how it turns to a hand. Okay, so right now I have one window open with just one tab. All right, so let me go ahead and click on Jared Anderson. Watch what happens. It opened a new tab, and it took me to Jared Anderson's client page. All right, and hopefully by now you know pretty much anything you need to do with this client, you do it from here, from the client page. All right. Now, so if you clicked on Jared purposely, there's obviously something you want to do. Let's say you want to go and enter a diagnosis. So you're going to go do your diagnosis, get it done. When you're done, all you got to do is close that tab, and you're right back to the census page. Everything on here was built to where when you click on a link, it either opens in a new window or a new tab. And when you're done, you close the new tab or you close the new window, and you're right back here. So it really simplifies navigation. Tremendously simplifies navigation, especially if you consider that right from here you can do these things for Jared Anderson. Okay, so we're gonna test a few of those here in a little bit. But I want to step across the page first. So click on Jared's name. It's going to take you to the client page. You all probably already figured this out. If you click on the home name, it's going to take you to the home details page. Right from here, pretty much anything you want to do with a home, or parents or people involved with a home, you're going to be able to do from right here. Okay, when you're done, just close that and you're right back to the census page. All right, agency. So this is the payer. So my mouse turned to hand, so obviously that's a link. So if you have, if you can, think ahead, if you click on that, it's probably going to take you to the agency billing screen. It's exactly where it takes you to. So if this kid had a rate change or the payer changed, you can come and change that. If their level of care changed, you can change the level of care. If you're in Virginia and the VMAT score changed, you can change the VMAT score right here. So that agency link will take you there. The level of care field also takes you to that same page, all right? So you can get to it real easy by the level of care field. Bed hold, if you click on that, it's going to take you where you can see a list of all the bed holds the kid had. If you want to add a new one, just click on the add new one, add it. When you're done, it's going to close once you add it. When you're done adding it, well, you know what? Let's just do that real fast. So we're going to say this was requested today. It's not in regards to an incident. So the start date for the bed hold is going to be Saturday and Sunday. Agency, that's who the payer is. This was direct contact, and it was Susie. No, Sam. Sam Smith works for the agency, and he approved Jared going to camp for the weekend. Relationship to client. This is a lookup list that you guys will set up for yourself, but we'll just put out of agency. Reason for bed hold. Standard. Status pending. We're going to go ahead and say it's approved. If you don't know if it's approved yet by these people, don't fill that in. Leave it say pending. But I just want to go ahead and put in all the information that your agency wants to put in on this. Hit save. And it says if you have not already done so, you must complete a critical incident report if this bed hold request is in response to a critical incident. So if the kid got hospitalized, went AWOL, whatever, then that's an incident too. So this is just reminding you to go do that incident. Okay. So now here's that new bed hold. So back on the census page, you can actually enter bed holds right from here. Okay, the next column is about incidents. If they're blank, that means the client does not have an open incident. Okay, if you need to enter an incident, if it's blank, you need to enter one, just come right over here. Click on that, and it will let you enter a new incident on this client. But let's go to one, George Bent here. He has one that's still open. So notice my hand, or my pointer turned to a hand, so I can click on that. And here's, if you look, if there was a lot of incidents here, they're color coded. So any open one are the ones that are not green. Okay, so I can come in here, edit this incident. If it's done, completed, I change that status to completed, hit save and return. Now it's green. Now if I close this and I refresh this page, notice how George Bent's CI went away. It's no longer there. So if they have an open incident, that's any of them that are not completed, they will have a CI here, and it's a link to that incident. Okay, by now you probably already figured out if I click on medications, it's going to take me to where I can manage the medications for Jared Anderson. I'm sorry, I switched back up to Jared. So if this medication here was, let's say this one was ended today, and just come in here, end it, hit save, and now that medication's ended today. And once you're done, again, close that tab, and you're right back to the census page. Referral, let's click on that and see where it takes us. This is going to take you to the referral that led to this placement. All right, now Jared may have other referrals out there, but if you click on the link on the census page, it's going to take you to the referral that led to this placement. Okay, this placement cycle. All right. If you need to see all of Jared's referrals, you're going to click on Jared's name, open the client page. And if you expand out placement, here you'll see all of Jared's referrals. And you can see he had quite a bit. So, but the one on the census page is the referral that led to this placement. And then if you're using the authorizations functions on Valeo, this link will take you to where you can manage those authorizations. And you see Jared's had quite a few authorizations in the system. So here, let's say this one wasn't ended, you can end this, set up a new one, so on and so forth. So again, when you're done, close it. You're right back to the census page. You can see how it just really simplifies the navigation of Valeo's system. If you're a worker dealing with kids or homes, this is where you want to be. Just to reiterate this, let me go to a caseworker homepage real fast. Now, I'm trying to stress this anytime I talk to our partners about caseworkers. So I open to get to the caseworker page, you have to open the supervisor page, and then you have these links. So Paul Hanrahan's a caseworker. If I click on that, it's going to open Paul's caseworker page. And this was designed to do something real simple. Check your dashboard. Check all your tabs on your dashboard when you log in, okay? And it doesn't take long to check those. Deal with anything you need to deal with on your dashboard. Once you're done, click on placements. And they have a customized census page just for their caseload. And so once they check into their dashboard, check everything on their dashboards, all they got to do is switch to placements. They're going to see their census page for their caseload and leave it there. Everything they're going to be doing, they can do from here. All right, it's a great starting place. If they need to go back to their dashboard, just click on that. All right, and if they need to do any of these other things, then obviously click on that. So that census page, when we first built that one I'm showing you, we realized how powerful that was. We said, guys, we need to put that on a caseworker page. You know, let them check their dashboard, let them switch to that, and just sit there all day because they can do everything they want from there. Now, supervisors, obviously, you'll go up to here to get to the census page because you want to see it across everybody. So, okay, so that is all the links this way. So now let's just try a couple of these so you can see how they work. I would say that I did a home visit yesterday with Jared, so I want to enter my contact. Notice it opened in a new window, so I'm going to fill this out. Pick my type. We'll say it was a home visit. You know, fill in everything else. Come to the bottom, hit save. If I need to print it, I can go ahead and print it now. All right, and then when I'm done, close it, and I'm right back here. So let's say the home I visited was Jane and Ann Davis. So if you look down here, Jane and Ann Davis. I mean, you're going to know what kids were in there. I don't really know on this research system. They didn't have any other kids. Let's say there was 3 other kids in that home. Then I could come do those 3 contacts. You know, if you're using copy and paste, then probably what you would want to do is once you enter the first one, come here. Here's that one I just entered. Then you can copy it to the other kids in the home. So, okay, so you can enter contacts. If you're residential, and I'm going to go over the residential and services, or if you're foster care and you're using behavior logs, you can enter a behavior log from here by clicking on behavior log. System's going to open a new window. This may not, yeah, it did. So I have something configured for it. So once you're done entering the information, close it, and you just enter the behavior log. If you need to enter an incident, so come here, enter your incident, right? Let's go ahead and do this. We'll say it's a critical, say it happened at the office, incident time. Writing a report today, and I'm just gonna, okay, hit save. Okay, so now that's done. Now that's an open incident, right? So if I hit refresh this page, you see that it's an open incident. Again, if you come in and you complete it, then it will go away from that page. So So get back here, refresh that, and you'll see that CI is no longer up. It is there. I did something wrong. I may not have gave enough time to save before I close that window, but that will go away once you complete the incident. Okay, next thing you can do is medication. It's going to take you to that same medication screen I showed you from this link. Okay, so again, if you're on the client page, it takes you to the same place as clicking on this. It's the same thing. So you can see just how easy the navigation becomes using these census pages. Enter a collateral contact. So you can enter your collateral contact. We know what home the kid's in, so if you want to put a copy of this contact in the home, click that box, save it. You just wrote this collateral contact to Jared's file, and you also wrote it to Jane and Billy Davis's home file. So connection, if you want to log a connection, so the connection type's extracurricular activity, fill it out, save it, and you just log the connection for that kid. Level care, if you want to adjust level care, if you're thinking ahead, it's going to take you the same place as where we clicked. When we clicked on basic here, this level care will take you the same place. And the bed hold is going to take you to where you just enter a bed hold. You're not going to see, there is a difference between this bed hold and this one. This shows you a history first, then you add a new one. This one says, hey, I just want to add a bed hold. So, level care, sorry. You're not going to see the history page. So that is the foster care census page. Down at the bottom, it tells you how many current placements you have. I believe that's it. So again, expandable collapsible regions. So okay, now let's look at the residential census page. It's very similar. There's some few differences because it's residential. So first, the obvious difference is this is not a home. This is a bed or room location. We have another column here for checking kids in and off the property or out of the facility. Everything over here is the same, works the same as the foster care. If you click on the kid's name, it's going to take you to the client page. There's the client page. Close that. You're right back to the census page. You have a few more options here than you did in foster care because in residential we do behavioral alerts, medical alerts, appointments, and a little more stuff than we do in foster care. Oh, those are not links. Okay. Those should be, they will be links eventually. So anyhow, it's almost identical to the foster care one. Obviously, some links are missing. We'll get that fixed. You have the action column to do things. And then you also have some totals up here. Now, one of the differences between the foster care and residential is down here, you have some more options. When you have a report button, okay? Now, that's just going to do a printable report of this page, okay? And you also have some filters up here. Let me start up at the top. You have some filters. So this is the same filter that was on the foster care one, but then you also have this. In our residential services on Valeo, you can do residential, secure residential, or emergency shelter. So here's where you'd say, I want to just look at my secure kids, right? Hit go, and then the system will only show you secure. If you want to look at just that emergency shelter, you can hit go. If you want to look at residential, only hit go. Now, if you want to look at all, but you have multiple residential facilities, then you can, do it this way. So you can pick the Columbus branch, Canton, so on and so forth. So you have some filters up here, but then at the bottom you have a report button, and it's just a printable report of this page. Let that open up real quick. It opened on my other screen. Let me drag it over here. Here's what that printable report of the census page looks like. Okay, then you have these buttons here. So I'll explain the school check out and check in. When you place a kid in residential, you tell the system if the kid goes to school on site or off site. So if you have these, let's say, well, let me just click on this. If it's early in the morning, the kids are getting ready to get on the bus to go to off-site school, you click this button, and based on how the kids are set up, you're going to see a list of all the kids that go off-site for school. And then if you want to check them out for school, you can just check these buttons. And we're going to say these three didn't get on the bus. So I'm going to go ahead and check out for school. Okay. Return to previous. And now, if you look, if they're checked out, this column is going to change. So this kid we didn't check. He still says check out. But these say now check in school. All right. So they've been checked out. They're checked out to school. All right. But instead of going here to do it, any kid that has his status, if you click on this, you can come in and check them all in with one function. Let me go ahead and do this. So, well, let's leave two of them unchecked. Check in from school. I didn't really show you this on the checkout. So when you check them out, if you uncheck any, once you save your initial checkout, the rest will be sitting here. So if the next bus comes in 10 minutes, just leave that sit there, and then once the other two come off that bus, this is a check-in. So when they get off the bus to come back to the facility, you can just, if you leave it sit there, you can go ahead and do that. Now you've checked them all back in. So now if you look, this button will say checkout. Now the next two are this. You decided that you had 4 kids that were really, really good this afternoon, and you're going to take them to Dairy Queen. And we'll just say it was these 4 kids. Right, then you're going to select it, what the reason is, fill this stuff out, hit check out, and you just check those kids out to the Dairy Queen. And then when they get back, you can easily check them back in with this button. Right now there's none checked out, so you're not going to see anything. Okay, now there is another difference on this page. In that alert column for residential kids, you can have active behavior alerts and medical alerts. So like if you look, Jared Davis don't have any alerts. But if we look at Double McGee, he has a behavior alert. So if you click on that, it's going to open up what that behavior alert is. All right, so here's his active behavior alert. Now, if this is not an issue anymore, you can go ahead and end it here, and it will fall off that report, okay, or off the census page. So if I ended that, that wouldn't still be here. The MA is a medical alert, so same thing. He has an active medical. Well, he has two. Yeah, 2 medical alerts. So if you put in dates there, and when you return to this page and refresh it, those MA wouldn't be there. But as long as they're there, you'll see them. And also, when you initially enter the behavioral alerts and medical alerts, the system can send emails to notify, like cooks. Like if it's a medical alert and it's about allergies to certain foods, then you can actually the system will send emails to you. You can set your kitchen staff up in the system, and the system can email that kitchen staff about those alerts, or anybody else that you have set up. And again, the CI is nothing more than the incidents. So again, once you're done, just close that, and you're right back to the page. So that's the residential census page. The last one is the services census page. Again, things are a little different, right? So we have this, pretty much the same functionality. This links the same. It's going to open up additional information. If you click on the kid, it's going to take you to the client page. Again, the client page is where you can do anything you need to do on a kid from this one page. When you're done, close it. Program, cross system of care. So in services, we don't have defined programs set up in our services module. They're set up per partner. So, it's going to be your programs here that these kids are attending, not what you see in our system. Home, we have where you can set up residence for clients in services. So this is not a foster home. This could be the biological parent's home. Wherever that kid's supposed to be sleeping at is what you'll see here. Okay. Again, the payer, it's a link. It's going to take you to the payment screen. Notice that Virginia VMAT stuff's not on that because it's not used in services. Level care is going to take you to the same screen. The alerts work the same way. Medications, again, takes you to the medication for the kid. You can edit the ones that are existing or add new ones. The referral, that's the referral that led to that service. So in this case, it's the cross system of care service. And then any authorizations that pertain to that kid, you have a link to it. So that concludes the Did You Know webinar for June. I'm going to unmute anybody. Anybody wants to ask questions, they can. So. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Hope this was beneficial. Again, if you have ideas for these Did You Know webinars, submit them. You can use our idea portal to submit ideas for the Did You Know webinars. I'll cover anything you guys want me to cover. So we're starting to get some stuff come in for requests on the Did You Know webinars. So we're doing them for you. Please let us know what you'd like. Thank you for being here. And I'll get the link out to the webinar here shortly. So everybody that signed up will have the link to go watch it. And thanks. Bye.